StreamYard's up.
Thank you. You know, I think your thing starts at 7 o'clock all the time. That's why I called you at 1:45. It's like, wait, can you find it?
No, it's 8 o'clock.
I know. I just do everything at 7. And this is the only thing that's at 8. So I'm not used to it yet.
You got to get off.
That's why I was panicked, huh?
You got to get off that 7 o'clock schedule.
No, it's not going to bed at 9 o'clock. It's that 8 o'clock schedule. It's going to be rough. All right, thank you for putting it up. So it's on Facebook.
It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube, okay.
And StreamYard is up as well. The link to StreamYard is pinned to the top of the YouTube chat.
Okay, I'll get it in a minute. Because now, of course, I'm eating. That's why I also laughed. Yeah, I'm like, it's almost 7 o'clock. Then after I hung up, I'm like, I bet it's at 8 o'clock. And I looked and said, yeah, it's at 8 o'clock. I'm just used to doing things at 7. So.
All right. See you in a bit.
All right. Well, I'll see you in a little bit. Bye. I have no idea.
Don't know how many of you can hear me out there, but the live actually starts at 8 o'clock, so the pin will be able to show up at that point.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, you can hear me. Okay,
Yep.
cool. Now, so do I share my screen when it's time? Okay.
Yeah, we have a lot of people here in StreamYard waiting for 8 o'clock,
That's wonderful.
and I've got 3 waiting on YouTube.
That's good. All right, let me figure out which screen I want to show this thing on.
Hello, DCBs.
Hey, Bill, did you see my question?
No. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Bees All Day. Sorry about last week, but we had some technical difficulties that I just couldn't overcome, and we had to call it a night. So, what does everybody want to talk about tonight? Hey, Darren, Tar Heel Beekeeper. Keith, hello. Darren, hello. Mike, hello. Can everybody out there hear me tonight? Good. At least that part's working, right? Does anybody want to come on and join us? Because the StreamYard link is pinned to the top of the YouTube chat. If somebody wants it on here, then maybe I can pin it to this one if you like, if you want to come on. Is it too loud, Jack, or do I need to cut it back? Okay. So tonight, is everybody ready for the rain that's coming in Virginia? We're supposed to get rain for 2 days. They're saying for up to 8 inches of rain here. So what's everybody else supposed to get with the storm that's coming in off the Carolinas? Are your bees ready for it? You got them put away, got them bedded down? Everybody's being bashful tonight, including Sandra.
My bees are put away, Bill.
That's good.
But it's only a light drizzle here. I am in Central Virginia. My mother's in South Carolina, and she said it's been pouring all day.
Yeah, it's coming. It's supposed to start tonight. So when do you typically start getting snow, Jack?
Bill, do you want me to put the StreamYard link in the chat so people can come and join us here?
It's already on the YouTube channel, but you can put it there.
Okay. So where are you
Yeah.
located, Jack? Do you know, Bill? I don't know where he's located.
He's in Wyoming.
Oh.
Yeah. There's the StreamYard link if anybody wants to come online and join us. You like it out there, Jack? Everybody got quiet.
Oh, he was born and raised there.
Well, he must like it if he was born and raised out there, so. I bet it is rich for those bees out there. There's a lot of ranch land out there, that's for sure. So are you close to the national parks out there, or are you a ways away from the national parks? 2 hours from Yellowstone. That's not bad. I bet it's pretty out there, though. So pivots, alfalfa and wildflower. Yeah. Yep. Alfalfa is in good bloom. Farmer close to me has just got a third cut. Let's try it again.
Can you bring in somebody in, Bill?
No.
Oh, I was hoping. Oh, you're putting it up again. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you have the opportunity to come in the StreamYard, please do. There's a little bit of delay in the chat, and I think it would make for a more lively conversation.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
Hold on just a minute. I had to turn the YouTube side off.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
How y'all doing?
I'm doing
Hey.
well.
Yeah, I'm hanging in here.
It looks like that you have some, I don't know how it happened. It's like two YouTubes going on. This is,
No,
if you go
I'm
to,
out of YouTube.
that's what we're looking at. You got where you first pinned it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I went and clicked on the different link and it brought me over here.
Okay. Yep.
Anyway, I
So,
thought I'd just do that.
yeah. So what have you been up to, Joseph?
Oh, not too much. Hey, everybody over there in the chat. I was busy in the honey house and your link popped up and I come on and I said, I thought he's coming on at 7 o'clock here. And it was 6:30 at that time. And then you said you was just waiting. But
It's 8 o'clock.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
7 o'clock my time. I'm in
Yeah,
Louisiana.
8 Eastern. Yes.
okay. 8 Eastern, yes.
But we gonna be talking about feeding, different ways of feeding, where you have a couple of hives or 100 hives this Thursday at our meeting, our little club, and I've been getting things together for that.
Well, let's talk about that tonight.
Anything
Yeah,
from a
awesome.
55-gallon drum down to a 5-gallon bucket, So
Yeah.
Yeah. So Joseph, this is my first year. Please say more.
well, I'm not in the honey house where everything is, but there's just so many different ways to feed, and I just been trying to get everything together. Anything from like a small jar to on top of inner cover, covered up with a box, or it's just all kind of stuff. But if I was in the honey house, I could show you a little of it.
So do you bulk feed your bees or do you frame feed them or jar feed them?
All the above.
All the above. Okay.
I don't do a lot of feeding. Most feeding I do is nukes when I do splits in the spring. And in the fall, I kind of watch them and see how our fall flow goes. If I think I need to feed them, sometimes I may put a 5-gallon bucket out. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but you drill the little slots and turn it upside down like a bitty feeder,
Yep, I do.
So if I open
do
feed, that's the kind of route I go. But in my nukes, I'll use either division frame feeders, AJW, or jar feeders or bucket feeders on top with the hole on the lid. There's just so many ways to do it.
Well,
Yeah, there
I
are.
need to learn them all. So it looks like DCB said that they feed in the late summer and then in hive feed in the fall. The open feed in the summer and hive feed in the fall.
I mean, unless I've got a lot of young bees or new hives, I don't feed all summer long. I wait for the dirt to hit and then I feed. And I typically feed fructose syrup.
Can y'all hear me?
Water.
Yeah.
Because that can make it go further.
I've got the two ways that I mix mine. I just mix sugar because I don't do a lot very often, but I've always for years just used a 5-gallon bucket and put 25 pounds of sugar in it and then add the water I need for like 1-to-1 or whatever I'm doing.
Mhm.
And do it with like a paint stirrer in a drill,
Yep.
Mhm.
And I went from that to a 55-gallon drum with a sump pump in it, turning it, and that
Mhm.
made things easier. The pump I got feeds right off the bottom. Some of them, if the water is not 2 inches deep, you can't use it. But this one, if it's I think it's 1/4 inch deep, you can pull water off the bottom. So
Yeah, the
I can
suction's right on
actually,
the bottom of the pump.
yeah, I can actually put 2.5 gallons of water and then add the sugar to it and pump with it. Or I can just do 55 gallons, but I never have to do that much at one time. It works good for me. I use the pump to pump into buckets or jars with a hose and a fuel nozzle. Or if I wanted to take it out in the field, I've got it where I can haul it and use it's a little pneumatic pump, actually, not pneumatic, but it's a RV water pump. There's Darren. But got it where I can pump it out of there with a battery and an RV water pump and do the same thing. And it'll draw everything but about 8 or 10 ounces of water out of the bottom of that barrel.
Well, it sounds like you got a good system set up. JW, what do you do?
I don't know. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Sir.
Oh, I wasn't sure you could or not. I come on Miss Sanders' thing because I never could get bills to come up on my chat screen. So I didn't know if you could hear me or not.
Yep. Hear you loud and clear.
Well, that's good to know. I just come on to try to help y'all out for a little bit, and then I'm going to run on down the road. still got some little.
That's what
work.
I'm doing too, JW.
Well, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
I know how it feels on the other end of this thing.
Yeah. You pop up there and no one comes back at you, you feel a little bit lonesome.
Yeah, it does. It gets really lonesome when you're waiting for somebody to come back.
I think next time I'm going to play the Rocket Man when I'm on
Yeah.
there. Working on everybody.
So JW, do you feed how do you feed your bees and when do you feed them?
I'm feeding right now. I'm not feeding my production hives, which I'm just finishing up treatment on them, and I'll start feeding them next week. But what I call my starter hives, which is this year's nukes and splits, well, I've been feeding them for, I don't know, 3-4 weeks now. But they right after I finished treating, which I treated, I just used OAV, oxalic acid vapor, for what I call my starter hives. I'm a little reluctant to use, some of the stronger, treatments like the Apigard or Formic on those smaller hives. They're all right on the strong hives, but I'm a little bit afraid of them. I've had 2 scons with the Apigard, and I'm going to blame it on the Apigard because on my treatments on my production hives this year, had 2 out of about 28, I think it was, that absconded on me. So
Yeah, we used Apigard in August and we were feeding at the time too. And we put the cards on top of the brood frames.
Mhm.
We came back 3 days later and the bees had managed to work, 3 of the hives had managed to work those cards out down to the bottom board and out the front door.
Yeah.
How they did it, I have no clue, but they did it.
Well, part of my abscond problem may have been I might got a little aggressive with my with the amount of ApiGuard I put on there. I didn't do a very good job of measuring it. I just had it on a kind of a wooden paddle, and I slapped on what I thought was about 40 to 50 grams and went on down the road. So part of the absconding might have been from some of my lack of due diligence, so to speak.
Yeah, you never know until you get started, right?
Well, I'm pretty good at running by the seat of my pants. I have all my life, so I just
Yeah.
still do a lot of that.
So
Darren, do you,
JW, go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
Bill.
Darren, do you feed this time of year? And if you do, how are you feeding?
I am feeding right now. I have some splits, some late summer splits that I did. So I'm feeding
Mhm.
those. I'm not feeding my hives, but my deeps, but they're putting on a lot of weight. We got a decent flow going on right now, fall flow. So I'm not feeding my larger hive, my more populated hives, but my nukes and my splits, I'm feeding those right now. I use
Are
frame. That works pretty well for me. They're putting
Okay.
some weight on. We got a good
That's good.
goldenrod and aster flow right now.
Y'all
So-
still having problems up there with lanternfly?
We didn't have that many this year. It was like last year, it was so bad. I remember going for groceries, and in a grocery parking lot, they were just like all through the parking lot. They were all over the cars. You couldn't walk without getting one of those lanternflies in your face. And then this year, I don't even know if I saw one of those this year. So
Yeah, I
No,
think
just-
y'all sent them down here to us.
maybe they had to go somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So
So,
go ahead, Sandra.
JW, I'm a new beekeeper. How many hives do you have?
Today,
Roughly. Yes,
oh,
today.
I'm an old man. Lord God, lady, I got 52 as of today.
Well, I'm not young, but I had 2 last week and I've got 4 this week and I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, well, it's pretty easy to grow if you just let them act like you want them to split. Well, you can double up pretty quickly.
He's a better beekeeper than he is a fisherman. I know that much.
Yeah, I didn't make it today, Darren, but I'm going to for sure again tomorrow. I haven't given up yet.
He's been ignoring me for about 2 weeks because I keep asking him how many fish he caught, and then he just like shuts up. He goes quiet on me.
I don't mind telling. The fishing sucked. Let's put it that way. I was.
You wouldn't believe it, but I'm from Louisiana, and the only fishing I do now is what I go buy on Sunday.
Yeah. Well,
I grew up
too.
fishing. I grew up fishing every time I had a chance, but
well,
I don't even go fish no more. I just go
believe it or
buy.
not, I fished for a living for about 15 years in the Gulf of Mexico down there, Joy.
Ooh.
So
Wow.
DCBs says that you're a raccoon keeper instead of a beekeeper.
Yeah, I was. I think I pretty well got them cleaned out. I've still got a couple live traps. I'm not baiting them regular like I was when I was on the warpath, but I caught 35 of those suckers in 2 weeks, 24 days. So about 20 or 3 weeks, 20, 21, 24 days, I caught 35 coons. They were just taking me. They was eating all my cat feed.
Yeah, I think I raise groundhogs around here is what I'm raising. I got more groundhogs around here than I can shake a stick at.
Hell, I don't kill them. I got a lot of them, but I don't kill. People say I hunted all my life, but people still haven't said, "Do you hunt?" I said, "Yeah, for a place to sit down." Not a place to sit down. I don't kill anything but time anymore. So I've lost my urge to kill. But I'll kill some fish if I can ever catch one.
If
So Darren, sounds like you might be a pretty good fisherman then.
me? No, not really.
Yeah.
I'm just messing with him. I do like to fish, but I'm not like anything extraordinary. Actually, JW's track record is probably better than mine. I'm just messing with him. though.
Well, I wouldn't go there for sure. But I enjoy. I was going to do some more fishing than I'm doing now after I got back in the doggone bee business pretty stout. So
Funny thing about those bees, you kind of have to give up all your other hobbies when you get into beekeeping.
it's
You know,
just
Yeah,
about
it does, doesn't
So is there truth to that? Should I be concerned?
it?
Well,
Wait a couple of years.
it's a dreaded disease. Once you get it, it's hard. I don't think there's a shot for it or vaccination. Once you get the bee fever, well, you're pretty well stuck with it, I think.
Yeah,
yeah.
you got four hives. You're into it now.
Yeah, I've got 4. So to that end, is there some advice that when you had 4 or moved from 2 to 4 that you wish somebody gave you that you could share with me?
That's been a long time.
My only
Know
advice,
your- Know
I-
your limitations.
yeah, and have a mentor, because I never had a mentor. So my learning curve it still is. I'm still on my learning. I'm a 12-year beekeeper, and I'm still on my learning curve. And I know, like, if I had a mentor, like, that learning curve would have been shortened up quite a bit. Like, it took me 5 years to figure out how to overwinter my bees. My first 4 years, I only overwintered my bees successfully 1 year. They kept dying on me, and then finally it was my 5th year, and I said, I'm going to try this one more time, because I'm, buying bees. I'm going broke, and actually it was my 5th year when I got it figured out. But I'm pretty good at overwintering bees now. But now my problem is, like, over summering. If I lose bees, it tends to be in the summertime or in the fall. But
You see what BC said? There are many people that keep bees, but then there are beekeepers.
Yep.
I hear that.
One of my
Yeah,
he's not really a mentor. I've never been in the bee yard with him, but I've been in I've actually talked at meetings where he's president, and he's talked at my meetings when I was president.
Mhm.
But I could always pick up the phone and call him, but he always said there were beekeepers and bee havers.
I hear you.
One day I think I'm a beekeeper, and the next day I think I'm a bee haver. So
Okay.
But
Well,
it-
I have a mentor, so I think I'm starting well. Bill is
Yeah.
my mentor, so I've got that.
that's good.
But-
That's good.
but
Oh,
beekeeping
well,
is
no matter-
almost as easy as raising rabbits if you got enough room to put them all.
Yeah. You'll be all right with Bill. Just pay attention to what he says and beware of everything that you see on the internet, especially
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
guys like me, because I have a tendency to throw out a little BS on occasion.
My
BS.
experience,
That's
my first
funny.
experience with my mentor was our club set me up with a mentor, and this is what ruined me for beekeeping clubs too. Is the guy never showed up, and that was my first year of beekeeping. He never showed up that day, and then I saw him again after that at the bee club meetings, and he acted like nothing ever happened. Like, oh, hi, how you doing? But just some things like that, because our bee club wasn't really run very efficiently at the time or effectively, and I understand now the club's improved quite a bit, but that kind of shied me away from clubs. And I relied on a lot of friends. I had other bee haver friends, in the area that I watched Fat Bee Man. It was Fat Bee Man, Cayman, and probably JC's Bees. Like that's what I had, right? I mean, that's what I went off of. And
Okay,
it took me a long time.
Yeah, so Brian C says in the chat, buy more equipment because it'll be 8 soon. So I do have, I think, enough to do 4 more of everything so far.
I was actually asked one time how to figure what you need for the next year. And I told them, whatever you got bees in right now, double it and add at least 10%.
Yeah.
Oh, so then I don't have enough.
No, you don't
Okay.
have
Double
enough.
and add 100% in my case usually.
I knew this, and I went and bought boxes 3 different times this past year to catch up.
I did the same, Joy.
But
Yeah,
we did
it's-
have an odd swarming season this year. It was
You never have
I
enough
had
equipment.
nukes even trying to split and swarm. So
Yep. You never have enough equipment, and you never know. You could leave for work that morning and come home and find a swarm in your bush. And
yeah,
you go and think you've got a box to put them in, and you're like, I haven't got anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
And that's a wake up call.
I've scrambled. I've actually had to keep them in a bucket before.
Yep. I've done that too.
I wish I'd have had that on video.
I bet that was interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I'm a little concerned about the no more hobbies.
It's
If you would stay
Well-
there around 4 or 5 hives, you could manage that pretty easily. It's just, for me, it was like getting up to like around 10 hives or so. That's
Okay.
when it started to get busy for
Yeah.
me. And I don't know. I mean, right now I'm at 15 hives, and I don't know if I might go maybe 20. I can see maybe 30, but I don't see myself ever going beyond that.
Okay. And do
Well,
you
when I
all
was-
sell honey?
I sell my honey when I have honey. Some years
sell
I have, it,
honey.
some years I don't.
I
I was
sell
going to
honey
ask
and
you
I
if you
sell
started getting
bees.
a return on your investment yet, Darren.
I do. Not nothing major, because I mostly sell it out of my house. Pennsylvania has some pretty stiff restrictions, but I'm converting my basement, part of my basement, into like a honey kitchen right now. But it's taking me forever to get that done. But yeah, I mainly sell it out of my house. And I do have.
So is
money
all
coming
you
in.
sell honey, or do you sell nukes?
No, I don't sell any nukes. I should probably sell 3 or 4 nukes a year, maybe to try to at least pick up the liability insurance that would cover the liability. But
Yep.
I haven't done nukes.
How about you, Joe? You get
Yeah,
any return on your investment?
I sell honey and I sell nukes. It's not a big volume. I don't sell maybe 15 a year, but I pull at least a nuke out of everything I got. Some of them's for me and some of them's for sale. You know, like I said earlier, know your limitations. Back when I'm retired, I've been retired since 2019, but before I retired, when my apiary was growing, I told everybody that I wanted to get up to about 100 hives. A couple of mentors, I call them mentors, they were people I knew and helped me a lot, had about 200. And I'm thinking, well, if they can do it, I can do it. But before I retired, I finally got up to like mid 40s, and I couldn't work and keep up with that. Some people can. I couldn't do it. And the very next meeting, that was what I talked about. Know your limitations. Know
Yep.
what you can do. Because when you can't keep up, if you can't keep up with 45 colonies, they're going to leave you. They're going to
Yep.
pull up and leave you. But
Yeah, they will.
I try to make nukes out of everything I got, and for the first round of splits, and some of those I sell and some of them I don't. And then I usually go through and at least I may not pull a full nuke out of the next round, but I may pull a nuke out of 3 different colonies the next round.
Mm.
So,
Do you graft, Bill?
I attempt to on occasion. It's been so long since I've
Yeah.
really done a lot of it that
Yeah.
it usually doesn't turn out very well.
That's the main thing, Miss Sandra. If he's your mentor, you need to find someone you can trust where you can get some queens for. That's about half the secret. If you can't graft your own, the best thing to do is learn how to graft and graft your own if you're going to stay in the bee business.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Uh,
And I'm
I'm
sorry if
kinda
I look
partners with
distracted.
it.
My Doberman is like trying to get on camera.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of partners with a guy that's close to me, and he rears queens.
Well, that's the main thing. If you got a good queen outlet,
Yep. We've got 4 or 5 different types of breeders in the yard, and we sell a high volume of queens.
mhm.
Mm.
So
Bill, were you talking last week or 2 weeks? Well, I guess it would have been 2 weeks ago about doing a like a queen rear grafting class. Was that?
we're going to start with a class on how to set up cell builders, the 2
Okay.
different types of cell builders, and then we'll move from that into the grafting portion of it,
Good bit.
and then we'll keep moving forward into the finisher, the mating nuke, and bring them back and how you treat them when they come back mated. We don't put them up for sale as soon as they come back mated. They go into a nuke hive for about 2 weeks. So number one, they get their self situated so they can just pop out one egg at a time. And we watch their laying patterns. If they're not laying that full fan pattern, she gets squished. And because we drop 85, 90 cells at a time. So
Do you have that scheduled yet?
say what?
Do you have those classes scheduled yet?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I'm working on them.
And you're gonna
They're
teach them
be there.
online?
Yes, those classes will be online, except for the grafting portion. That will be in person.
I want to come down
Okay.
for the grafting portion.
Okay.
I graft every year, and I always think, well, I'm only going to need, because I only have a few hives. I only need maybe 10 or maybe like 4 or 5 queens. So I'll graft 10, and maybe out of 10, I'll get like 1. And I'm horrible at grafting. And every year I say, I'm going to get this down. I'm going to, learn how to do this. And I'm still like struggling with it. So that's like one of the things that I really need. That's definitely one of my deficiencies.
Yeah, we get an 85 to 90% take rate.
I think it's my cell builder is probably the issue, actually.
Yeah, it could be. It very well could be your cell builder. But then again, it might be, what kind of tool are you using? You use a Chinese tool or are you using a German tool?
I'm using the Chinese.
Okay.
I can't seem to get that down in there. Like, I feel like I'm always like stabbing that, the larvae.
Well,
in it.
half of it, there's only about 1 out of 20 of those Chinese tools or Japanese tools, whatever you want to call them. It's most of them's too stiff. You want
Yeah.
Well, the Skinny Bee Man did a video. I think it was Skinny Bee Man. He did a video on how to modify your Chinese grafting.
Yeah.
So basically, just sand down that little plastic.
Keep it in your mouth, keep it wet, and you can work that depressor out or the tongue of it out, and you can thin it out by chewing on it a little bit. You want it as thin as you can get it and keep it bent just a little bit. So that way when you go in the cell, it's going to go under that larva itself. And it's not going to be up to you to do it. It'll do it itself. If
Well,
you've
you got
got
a
one
pretty good
thin
question.
enough.
Excuse me, Bill. You got a pretty good question there from Morris Homestead. I think his first name's Matt. He's up in New York State about acquiring some queens for making nukes. You see, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So, we will ship queens. We have the Latshaw breed. We also have Caucasians that we bought the breeders this year. So next spring we'll start having Caucasians. The Latshaws either are Carnies, Italians, or Caucasian. So, and we also have a straight Caucasian as well breeder. So those are the 4 we have to choose from as far as queens. If you're interested, I can tell you next year they're going to be probably $42 a piece. Is what.
Hey, y'all, I'll be back in a minute if I can.
All right, you're sure. You're
Somebody just
welcome.
pulled up.
When are those available? That's the main thing for guys in the north, Bill. Or when do you have those queens available?
Typically, they're available between the 15th and the 30th of April.
Okay.
And if you need them sooner, we typically import queens from California, Pope Canyon queens, to get through the early season and early packages that come out in case there's dead queens in packages.
Well, you can get queens out of Georgia from reputable queen people in March sometime, Matt. If you're interested in buying some queens, they're not cheap, but that's about your only alternative if you're not going to get any queens locally.
Yeah.
Local queens up there in New York, when you want to make some early season nukes.
So Flower Street Farm Bees is asking what line we find works best in this area. If we are going to get package bees, we get them out of Northwest Georgia, out of the mountains of Georgia. And they are usually either Italian or Carniolan. They're both pretty hardy bees. The Italians get a little lazy every now and then, but and then I haven't had much experience with the Caucasians yet because all we have are breeder queens right now. So we haven't grafted off of them yet.
So since we're on the topic, so about queens, so which bee actually would be better? So here's my situation. What's happened to me 2 years in a row. The month of May this year and last year, it was horrible. And this year, like my queens actually even shut down. They didn't lay for several weeks. It was miserable rain. I actually thought that they were queenless and they weren't, but 3 of my hives they just stopped. So and I'm thinking like if this weather trend here in like my part of Pennsylvania is going to continue, I need to figure out something, some kind of a queen with a certain genetic. I don't know, like, do I want a queen that's going to start building up faster in the spring so that, maybe when that weather hits and that the weather breaks, then my hives populated, like, or I don't know. I'm kind of struggling with that. Like I'm thinking like Italians or Carniolans, but I need something that's going to get me through that bad weather that we are tending to have. It's trending every year now in the spring, and it's like I get like nothing like throughout the month of May. Not even like they don't bring in anything. They don't fly, and then then when the weather breaks, I got no population. So I need to figure out some type of I think that could be like part of the answer to my problem is maybe like Carniolans or Italians. I don't know for sure what. Right now, I just have the way I understand the people that I buy my bees off of or bought them off of, Beams Bees. I don't know if you're familiar with them down in like southern. Yeah. Okay, yeah. And they're just a just a mutt bee. I think Buckfast, Carniolan, Italian, various strains. They're good bees, real nice, gentle bees, and they do produce honey, but they're shutting down. And it's not just this. I just probably have a mix of bees. I don't have a specific genetic or strain.
Okay. How close are you to Carlisle, Pennsylvania?
3 hours.
Okay.
That's not a problem for me. I would travel down there if I needed to. I'm that way a lot.
Look up Martin's Bee Supply. They're not online. They're Amish.
Oh.
He sells nukes every spring. I would ask you to get in touch with him and buy a nuke from him and see how they do for you, because he's got some pretty hardy bees. And he actually makes woodenware as well.
I think I might have heard of him.
Yeah, his woodenware is great because that's what I have in my store. That's where I get my woodenware from. Now, Flower Street Farm in Colorado, they found that the Italians get started too early for their needs in Colorado. What we do here is into December, first part of January, we check for stores. And if they're short on stores or getting close to being out of stores, we start throwing fondant on them until the 15th of February. 15th of February, if you count 45 days back from April 1st, or the day that your flow typically starts, count 45 days back. That's when you want to start feeding the pollen patties. And by the time the day your flow typically starts, your hives are going to be full of bees and ready to work. Because the pollen kicks that queen off the land. Now you're going to have to continually feed them and check them during that time period, because if you start feeding them pollen patties and then you stop, it's a good chance you're going to lose your bees, because they've got more mouths to feed, so you have to continue to feed them. So more beekeepers lose bees between the 15th of February and the 31st of March than just about any other time of the year, because they starve to death because they don't feed them. But once you start doing that, your bees are ready to work when your flow starts. And those are spring bees, and they're ready to go.
Well, we start getting pollen coming in, like red maple coming in. It's early. It's like in February.
Yeah, we got that too, but that's not the float. I'm
Oh, I
talking
know.
about
I
the natural
understand
float.
that. But I mean, if you have that pollen coming in, then it doesn't make sense to even give them a pollen patty. That's my point.
But there's nutrients and carbohydrates and everything in that pollen patty that they're not getting from the regular pollen. And if they're out of honey stores, they're not getting that protein that they would be getting from the honey. And that protein is in that patty.
You writing all this down, Miss Sandra? So
She
you writing
knows.
all
I'm
this down?
writing
She
it
hears
down.
me talk about it enough. She ought to know it by
Yeah.
heart.
Yeah, I've been writing it down. I've been texting Bill some video ideas, and I'm looking
Yeah.
up Hive Alive fondant right now. Now, I see that Keith suggested Hive Alive. Is there a reason why, Bill, you don't make your own fondant?
I do make my own fondant. Or I use Golden Barrel fondant specifically for feeding bees. And
So-
if I'm going to use pollen patties, I use global patties, 4% global patties with rocket fuel in them, because the 4% has proven better than the 15% because the 15 can overload them.
You said that was 4% rocket patties?
Yeah, 4% global patties.
Global patties.
Apis
Yeah.
Biologic is in it. They call it
Yeah.
rocket fuel. When they're talking about rocket fuel, they're talking about Apis Biologic,
Yes.
Sandra.
Okay, I just Googled it.
Yeah.
Now, do we know what the ingredients are in this? Can I make this myself?
You bought Apis Biologics and you mixed it with your water.
Yep. So I can just add this to fondant then, and then,
I don't recommend adding it to fondant. No.
Yeah, probably the heating
Okay.
process would probably negate that Apis too if you were going to blend it with your fondant. It's just
Yeah.
what I'm thinking.
But in the global patty, the Apis Biologic exists in that global patty because of the pollen and everything else that's in it.
okay. Yeah, I'm trying to move away from buying and move towards making is the reason I was asking.
I understand. There's a reason they don't give everybody the recipe.
If you will friend me, Miss Sandra, on Facebook, I make a lot of my own stuff. If you'll friend me on Facebook,
I will do that, sir.
then
And what's your
I
Facebook?
I can message you a couple of what I do. I don't put out what I do, not to be secretive. I just don't think I'm smart enough, and I'm pretty much old school. I don't think I'm smart enough to be throwing out telling people what they should do and what they shouldn't do. I just don't do that.
I
So,
hear you, but I'm sure you know a whole lot more than me in this space.
well, I can give you some things that, if you want to do your own, you don't have
Yeah,
to
I
buy all
do.
that high dollar. I buy some, yes. Don't misunderstand me. But I make a lot of my own. I make about all of my own winter feed, so to speak. And I can tell you what I do, and that's as far as I'm going to take it. Then but you can make your own winter feed if you're
Yeah,
so
you can.
inclined, and add supplements to it, which is the Apis or artificial pollen or honeybee healthy, or there's a jillion of them out there. I've loved different folks for different strokes for different folks, as they say.
I understand.
So
And
Roy,
we are-
you're not the only one that's been banned from the kitchen. That's why my wife makes all the fondant.
Yeah. So,
Okay. I reached out, JW.
I got you. It came through even already.
Oh, yeah, I'm on it.
Yeah.
So in my first professional career, I was a chemist and I have a biology degree. So I feel like I might be able to figure out how to make it if I can get just a little bit of information.
Well, guess what? I have this a degree in chemistry also, so we might be.
Yeah,
able-
we
I
can have a
forgot about half
conversation.
mine though.
We
Forgot
can have a
about half my
conversation.
knowledge. Okay, folks, I gotta go. I've lied off. I'll give you my entire inventory of knowledge
I doubt
about-
that.
here in about 20 minutes. So I've got to go. So good luck to you and get someone on here that knows more than me. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Well, I
JW.
appreciate you coming in, JW. You have a good week, and we'll see you next week.
See you, JW.
Good night, all.
Good luck fishing.
Hey, so Roy asked where I live. I live in Central Virginia, a little bit west of Richmond.
And Hope Sadler, Cayman does have a pretty good recipe. He for a young man, he's a very good beekeeper. Charlie's on here. Come on in here, Charlie.
Yeah, my cat wants to be on the show. This is a cat that adopted us a few weeks ago. I had no intentions of having a cat, but now I have one. She's a nice cat, except for this part.
Yeah.
Climbs all
Now
over
you're
it.
stuck. I've got 2, Darren, so don't feel bad.
I've got 4. But we have fewer rats in our barn now. So
I thought we did post this link and pinned it.
do you want me to put it up again? Hold on.
It's got to get pinned to the top. I'm going to post it one more time. Copy. Paste.
You have a grand cat. I like that.
Off. Get off of there.
Come on. Where are you? I just love the way this thing does. Charlie, it's right here. It's up on the screen right now, Charlie. There he is.
Now take and go to the right of the link and click
Yeah.
on the 3 dots and pin it.
That's what I did before.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, Joseph.
Won't let me pin it, Charlie.
It won't.
Nope.
He's got two YouTubes going on. One of them everybody's on, and the other one's just kind of lingering out there in La La Land.
I don't know where it's at, but I don't see where it's at because I went out of YouTube
It's showing up
when
in
I came on.
I can see it. It's just not pinned.
Yeah. Might be another glitch I got to work out. Well,
Supposed to click the 3 dots, don't you, Charlie?
Yep.
yeah.
Right
Which
click
is
it.
when you click on the 3, or when you get out there on the 3 dots, what it shows. Save.
Delete comment, put user in timeout, ban user, and delete your comment.
Come on.
Now that's the 3 dots at the end of your link, right?
Yep.
That's weird. You're obviously admin.
Yep.
Sandra, you admin too, or you just a guest?
No, she's editor. She's an admin.
Oh,
You
she
are
should
at-
be able
you
to do
are
it
at
too.
Nick, and you click on that, Sandra, and click it. It says pin to the top.
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying. I was on Facebook. Pin what to the top? You want me to pin to the top?
All right, go into YouTube there, and where it says Bees All Day and the StreamYard link to come in, let people come in. If you'll
So-
put your cursor on the end, there's 3 dots that come up.
On YouTube. Okay. Let
On
me
the
go into
YouTube
YouTube.
side, not on
Yeah,
StreamYard.
that's what I do wrong. I always go to the
It's
wrong
on
page.
YouTube, not StreamYard. Does he say where it says pin to the top?
Lee's on here too. He can give some help.
See it?
Are you talking about the chat?
Yeah. Well, you see the link where you click to come
It's
in
already,
on-
it was. Hey, Charlie, it was pinned to the top.
No,
not
I've
pinned on
never
mine.
seen it at the top.
It
Nope.
was pinned to the top.
See
Now,
it, Sandy?
on that split YouTube page that nobody is on, it's pinned to the top of it.
What YouTube page are you talking about?
Me? It's almost like he's got 2 YouTube pages going on. Where'd I go?
Yeah, right there. Hold it up, Joey.
I don't see myself. Hang on, let me get back on this one. See that one? Nobody's there.
It's done.
It's pinned to the top.
That was something else.
It's done. It's
There
pinned
you
to
are.
the
There it is.
Yay!
All right.
Charlie, I told him a while ago earlier when I was on that next time I go on and I'm having trouble getting everything going, I'm gonna play the song Rocket Man.
top. So what have you been doing this week, Charlie?
Hold on. I'm gonna simulcast your broadcast. Okay, it's broadcasting. What happened there? Oh. Over the weekend, I pulled my Formic Pro strips out and I checked, give them an inspection as far as, check and brood for larvae and eggs and things of that nature in all the hives. And I'll say that Formic Pro might have slowed the queen down a little bit in some of them. And others it didn't. And they all seem to have pretty good amount of food and stuff. And all that. But so I went ahead, I bought some Appy tablets at the Nobby this year. So I threw a tablet in each one of them, see what that does. And all that. So
Have you ever used them before?
nope, never have. We'll see what they're like. It just they from different folks on the other chats. Hey David, I got different folks coming in off of my simulcast now. They say they got a, it sort of has a, what do you call it? Well, it's a supplement, but then there's also side effects, which happens to kill mites.
Yeah.
So we'll see about that.
What was it,
Yeah.
Charlie, you're talking about?
Huh?
What do you
Happy tablets.
Oh, you haven't used those? I thought you used those last year.
Did you?
You did,
How'd
didn't
it
you?
work?
Huh? What, Darren?
I thought you used those last year. That's what
No, I
said.
didn't. No,
Oh.
I bought them January of this year.
Oh.
Brian at Flower Street has used them, and he was showing a IPM board where quite a few. Hey, Sandy, quite a few mite drops and stuff, and all that. So
Yeah, I put them on again this year. Now, last year the bees didn't take to it real well, but this year they're going after it. They're taking it
what
on.
time of year did you put them on last year?
Well, last year I put them on in the winter time, and that's typically like when I would also maybe have some sugar on too. So that probably had something to do with it. But this year, even with this flow that we're having still, like slight flow, but they're going after it. So, I mean, as far as that part of it goes, it's working out. At least they're consuming it.
Bill, why don't you put your link up there so people can subscribe? Well, I guess they can. For the ones that are coming off of my channel, I know Sandy and Wildwood honeybees.
Hold on, I'll get it.
There's Brian. Brian says he likes the Appy tablets. He used them right after Supers came off, and I've been hearing that, and I think maybe that's what I should have done when I put Aprivar on. I should have threw the tablets on at the same time. Hey, Grammy, Lisa. So anyway, I put them on. We'll see what happens. And the only problem I have with them is like everybody else, they're too thick. They push your frames up, the two frames up a little bit.
Yeah, they do. They push them up.
Sandy wants to know, is it safe to harvest the honey again this year? I have two hives, and I have an extra box of honey on them that they made this fall. Yeah, you can pull it and spin it off. The other thing is you're going to have to, feed them. And that's what I actually was getting done this evening was I made a batch of 40 gallons of sugar water, and I installed my tank in the back of my truck and got it all strapped down, ready to go. Just got to check the pump out. So then I'll put some Apis Biologic in my feed. Yeah, if it's more than what they even have, Sandy, go ahead and extract it. It's fine.
Yeah,
It's just
not hard.
it's all good honey, fall honey.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, up on the chat where it says bees all day at William, you can click on that and go to his site, and you can subscribe because he's having a chat every Monday night, right, Bill?
Yep. 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock Eastern time.
Eastern Standard Time.
Yep.
So click on that link. And I mean, I know Sandy, because I shared it tonight, Sandy and Lisa and Laramie Farms, you're all coming in on my stream because I shared Bill's live show tonight out to my people that are on my show, and David Hoskins and all. So just go ahead and subscribe to Bill's show. He's going to have quite a what happened? Who popped out? Oh, Sandy did.
Sandy did.
Um,
I'm working on getting some special guests to come on Monday nights. Monday nights are hard for people to come on. First
yeah,
day of
Sandy.
work week.
Yeah, Sandy, you got two medium two medium supers on top and they're both full, yeah, pull them and extract them.
Oh,
Absolutely. I'm gonna get another drink here. I'll be back in a second.
So Bill, I didn't catch that. How many hives do you have? I know you've been beekeeping for what, 50 years? Something like
54
that?
years.
54.
Last year we had 83. And going into last winter, I had to combine a lot because I sold a bunch of nukes last year and I sold nukes this year. So one yard I'm down to 23, the other yard I'm down to 7. And then the queen rearing yard is a different story. So I guess 30 hives altogether right now. And it's a challenge to work them.
Well,
You
plus
get up
running
there-
that.
Get up there. It's a challenge to work them. And if they're having a bad day, then you just gotta walk away.
You're running that business too, right? So,
Yeah, I've got a business and we also farm. So kind of like Charlie, I'm a jack of all trades.
Hey, Steve.
And it keeps us busy, it keeps us moving, keeps us going. And it's very, very challenging to keep up with a schedule. Because I don't have everything delivered to the store. I drive to Pennsylvania when I need woodenware. I drive to North Carolina and pick up when I need other stuff for the store. It's simpler to do it that way because you don't have the shipping charges.
does
And they're
Martin's
close
ship
enough
though
I
if
can
you need
do
it?
that. Huh?
Would Martin's ship though if you need them to?
No.
They don't ship.
They won't set the shipping up. I can set it up and have Saya go pick it up and bring it to me, but that's going to cost me some money that I really don't want to add to the cost of the material. It's just easier for me to go get it.
Now, how far are you from Carlisle?
2 hours and 45 minutes.
Okay, we're about the same. I might be a little further than you.
Yeah. But then again, that's all interstate. And I run with traffic. I'm giving away my secrets here, but I run with traffic. So in the left lane, not the right lane.
So anyway, that's what I'm up to as far as my bees. I'm getting ready to feed. Going to put Apis Biologic in. Like I said, I did a batch of 40 gallons. I heat my sugar water when I'm making it, and then I take and let it cool down. Then I put my Apis in,
Mm,
and then
yeah.
put it. My plan is to get 40 gallons in the tank, 40 gallons in the mixer, and get my, I like to go out there, put my top high feeders on and fill them right then and there so the bees don't try to climb out into the feeders and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, that
Yep.
kind of a thing. So,
And the more efficient you are working the bees, the better off you are because you don't get them all upset. It's a lot easier on everybody.
I had one nuke out there that's got so much honey in it. It's got a deep and a medium, and I'm like, and I think it's got some issues too, about some queen issues for sure. So I don't think I'm going to feed that one, but the rest of them, I'll give it. There's a lot of the nukes. They've got a lot of fall flow in them. Not so much fall flow. I guess it was that extended flow that we had like in mid-July that we don't normally have.
Yeah, I think that kind of helped everybody out because it did get cool there for a few days in July and got a little bit of rain. So,
Right.
yeah.
So anyway, that's where I'm at now. Getting ready, like I say, getting ready to feed. I like to be done by, I'll say, the 15th of October.
Hmm.
Thing, and so just kind of getting on it. The main, I did see that I had my IPM boards, you know, under Coroplast boards underneath my screen bottom boards, and I was looking at them, see what kind of a mite drop, and some of the hives after Formic, there was quite a bit of mites dropping out of there, even though Aprivar was in there 6 weeks prior to that for 6 weeks, but I'm not really. I still can't figure out what I need or what I can use late July through August with the heat concerns. I'd like to do Aprigard with the thymol, but it's just too hot then. I think I would kill my bees over that. Anybody here have any good suggestions?
What's the dosage
I
that
mean-
you're using?
Well, I would go, if usually it's 80 to 90 degrees, so I wouldn't go any higher than 25 grams.
There you go. That's what they recommend.
Well, I mean, I've read up on it some where they say anything over 77 degrees, they recommend 25.
Yep.
I don't know whether it would be better to knock it back to 20 grams and do it for 5 continuous weeks. I don't know.
Well, you can do that. But then again, are you
Underdosing?
underdosing and going to cause a problem?
Hey, Randy. I don't know.
Could you wait for the weather to cool down some? And
You
Yeah,
can,
but it don't cool down in September. See, the problem of
Right.
it is that stuff will shut your queen down.
right.
Well, she's in there right now. She's laying up. I got frames of larvae in there, some cat brood and stuff like that. Those are my winter bees or they're coming on,
Right.
Yeah.
that kind of a thing. So I don't want to shut her down for a month. That's too late. Hey, Ed. And all that. So,
I think Bob Benny said he actually used the Apigard as a way to control swarming, even like because of shutting the queen down like that.
I don't really think that it shuts the queen down. There's a lot of different research out here on that. I read an article the other day that during the brood break, the queen's actually still laying. And because there's no protein coming into the hive, the bees are actually cannibalistic and they're eating the eggs and the young larvae. That's why we're not seeing it on the hive. So she's still laying. But there's all kinds of research out here that says, yes, Apigard does affect the queen. No, it doesn't affect the queen. If you use Formic Pro in certain times of the year in the fall, it affects the queen worse than Apigard. You just got to it's almost a crapshoot when it comes down to treating in the fall. So you just got to kind of stay with what works best for you.
well, I mean, there's been a lot of concern about Aprivar, being mite resistant and that kind of stuff, not doing a great job.
Right.
And I mean, I'll have to say, I think it's not as good as what it used to be for sure.
Oh, I'm
But
sure
I
it's
don't-
not either.
Huh?
I'm sure it's not either because at one time that was all we had. So
True. But it seems like to me that the mites, I mean, when I first started, you could have a higher mite load count in your shaker compared to what you have and over the past 15 years, it's gotten less and less and less as far as what the numbers should be after you're doing a mite wash.
That's true.
So there's, things have changed in the mite world also with that.
Yep.
And all that. But Joseph, what do you do down there in Louisiana where you're at?
Nothing.
You're just more on hive beetles down there, isn't it?
I don't do nothing. I don't really have a big problem with hive beetles except for the few that's sitting in a shady area
Mm-hmm.
or a hive that may be kind of getting weak for whatever reason. But
Oh, Joseph,
You
you
know-
don't treat, do you?
I don't treat. So I can't tell anybody what to do or what not to do.
So what are you doing for small hive beetle?
Nothing.
Well, what do you do?
If I get, say, a small colony, like maybe a nuke that I made, a split, and I might have them in there, I may use the oil trap, the beetle blaster. I don't like using it because I forget they're in there and I spill oil all over the bees. But I like to use the Swiffer cloth. I like it more than I do the oil. But I don't really do anything unless I see a big problem with them.
Okay.
And like I told somebody on the chat the other night, if just like these couple that I want to move, they're actually in the shade a big part of the day. So you're going to find more hive beetles at the lid. They're not all in the colony, but they're at the lid. I usually try to move them. If they're in an area where the hive beetles want to repopulate in that ground, I move them somewhere else where the ground's harder or whatever. And that I don't seem to have the problem. But you can go in any of my hives and see hive beetles, but I just quit doing anything, and I still don't have any worse problem or less problem with hive beetles.
But most of your hives are sitting in the sun though, right?
Right. 95% of mine are sitting right out in the sun all day. They start getting shade maybe in the past 3 or 4 o'clock, something like that.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Now I do have on most of my colonies, my rails sitting on, I use it's roll roofing. I put it down, but that's really, I guess it's kind of a hive beetle prevention, but it's more to help me keep grass down. And
Yeah.
I put salt around that. Now that may help with reproduction of hive beetles, but if you don't do anything like that,
I put,
can crawl
you
out
know,
somewhere else and go to the ground.
I put carpet down underneath my hives, originally for grass, for keeping the grass from growing. But I don't really have hive beetle problems here really at all. If I see a hive beetle, it's usually a super weak hive, but I feel like they have to pupate into the ground. And if you're in that sandy ground country, they can't pupate. They can't get into the ground to pupate. Now there's a lot of people have told me, different ones, where the beetle will crawl out and, I'm like, well, maybe so, but it works for me.
Now the ones that actually made the larvae crawls out of the hive with putting that salt around like I do, it probably kills them. It dries them up, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But you got to keep doing that, and I don't do it enough, probably. But,
Well, either that or like Lee, he puts Rubex down, which will kill the larvae.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's safer for the bees too.
Now, a friend of mine puts, what is it, Promethium? Am I saying that right? Promethium?
Permethrin, maybe.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
late, just before, right about dark, he'll mix him up some in a 5-gallon bucket and just drench the ground around all his colonies. That way it'll be gone, but it'll be in the ground before the bees come back out and fly around. But I don't do any of that.
Yeah, most of the ground around my hives is hard as a rock right now. You can take a shovel and bounce it off the ground.
Yep. Sure. That's for sure.
Yep.
Now I got this, like I say, this one colony that I need to move in my yard. It doesn't see sunshine until probably 11 o'clock in the evening. The bees do real well. They love it there, but I guarantee you I can pop the lid on it and probably kill 30 hive beetles on the top, trapped on the top. And I just might as well get ready. I can pull it off and kill them all. But when I go down in them, I don't hardly see anything in the colony itself.
The bees have sequestered them to the lid.
Yeah, they keep them up top.
Yeah.
That's another reason I don't go in my colonies in the summertime.
Yeah.
That's my story.
And you're sticking to it, right?
And I'm sticking to it.
So what do you do, Darren?
I just took my Apivar strips off. So in the wintertime, I actually got this off of Charlie because I never did this before. I go back to the day where they used to, when I started beekeeping, they used to have you suggest that you would do like a vapor treatment once a year. So I was like literally like doing like maybe like for the longest time, like maybe I'd do like 2 or 3 vapor treatments and that would be it. But then when I got on Charlie's show and I saw how he was doing it, then I started using Apivar and then I just pulled my strips off. This winter, I'm going to do some vaporization, maybe like every month or every 6 weeks or so. And I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I got to do one more treatment. I thought about Apiguard, but I'm kind of, for like a fall treatment, but I'm kind of weary on that because of the whole queen issue. So I know I got to make a decision soon what I'm going to do next.
I don't think Apiguard's a great fall treatment to be quite. I mean,
well, I know.
If you listen to Bob Benny, he says the same thing. I kind of go off from what he says. I would be doing Formic Pro myself.
See, that scares me too, though, because I just talked to a friend of mine who used Formic, and he lost queens. So I don't know.
I mean, you really have to pay attention to the Formic because if you put it on one day and it's below 85 and you haven't watched the weather, and then the next 2 days it's 90 degrees, well, you've just either got a very large bee kill or you've damaged a queen. Because the first 3 days of that treatment is what matters. So before you put it on, you got to make sure you watch the weather for the first 3 days you're going to have it on there.
Well, that's like I pulled Apivar off on the 31st or whatever it was. That was the last exactly 6 weeks. That was on a Saturday of August. And then September, Labor Day, I guess it was. Yes, it was last Monday, 2 Mondays ago on a second. My Formic Pro went on that day because for the next 2 weeks, it was going to be between, let's say, 70 to 80 degrees with low humidity. And humidity, I think, plays a huge part in that, even though it doesn't say anything about it on the label. And I like it. I don't want it to be any hotter than 80 degrees when that treatment's on. And it was basically 75 to 79 degrees is where it was. And most mornings were jacket weather, actually, the first 4 days or so. And it was ideally perfect for that product. And that's why it's usually the 1st of September when that product goes on. Yeah. And people, I had a hard time years ago, like when they had Mite Away quick strips. It's like, there's a product, half your bees are out on the front porch up on the sides of the hives. How are they getting treated when they're on the outside of the hive instead of on the inside? But I finally figured out that this is a brood treatment product. You're killing the mites underneath the brood where 80% of your mites are supposed, they say, is where they're at. 80% of them are underneath the brood. It does kill thoracic, but the main thing is it's a brood treatment. And then Aprovar is thoracic, and then I will do oxalic acid at least once or twice a month, as long as it's 45 degrees. Then I'll blow the smoke into them throughout the whole winter up until February.
Now, the Aprovar,
Yeah.
does it actually kill mice under the
Cappings
wax, or it kills them as they come out?
kills them as they are on the bees, and I guess as they come out.
Yeah.
So they've already done the damage they gonna do. When
Yeah,
they come out, they've already done the damage in that cell.
that's correct.
Yeah. Now, like Todd there from out in California, he's they've had heat out there of like 100. I mean, this is like not like feels like, but the real temperature of
Yep.
105 degrees out there for weeks. And anything's below 90 is good. And when he uses it at 25 grams, but now he's been using Appy tablets out there for quite well. I guess it's been close to a year now. He's been experimenting with him.
So where is everybody getting their Appa tablets from? Because I got a notification that we weren't supposed to sell them anymore.
Who's that? Who sold or told you that?
EPA.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
I don't know.
I
I got mine at
thought they were a
Dobby.
pretty good
I got mine.
product.
I got mine from Mehmet, and I think that's a bogus thing. I'm not mature on that when it comes.
I
to
hope
EPA.
so.
Well,
And-
if you're selling them for what they designed for, it ought to be legal. And if you're selling it for a mite treatment,
See, I think
might
that's
be
what
what-
got them. Is they were selling them as a mite treatment.
because
Right.
they're actually just a supplement.
It's a supplement. Number one, that's what it's listed as. It just
But
has
it's got thymol in it.
Yeah, it's got thymol in it. Let's face it, thymol is an Apricard, and guess what happens when you use that? The mice get killed.
Yep, you're right.
And it just it's just like right now you got oxalic acid. Everybody's supposed to buy that high price crap. Who's doing that? Hey, Mark. And
I mean, I've still got oxalic acid that I bought years ago in a hardware store.
But well, anyway, it just
I hadn't used it in a few years, but I got oxalic acid sitting on the shelf. Came from a hardware store.
Yep.
All you're doing when you buy it from you know who, you're just paying what, 4 times more for the same
Yeah,
stuff.
Oxbow's got the tablets now, and to
Yep.
me, I looked at that product and I'm thinking to myself, well, that'd have been great 5 years ago, but everybody's using, battery operated vaporizers, or like me, I have a ProVap, and I don't use the cup thing anymore. I've got the plunger thing in that ProVap came out with that's competing with Laura Bees, but the Robbie. And, I got my stuff in a peanut can and just jab it in there, and it's pre-measured and hit it and you're done.
Yep.
And you paid $22 for 100 treatments. Yeah, but now, John, how many grams is in that 100 treatments? You got what is it? 1 gram per Is it 2 grams or 1 gram per box?
Two.
Supposed to be 2, I think.
2 grams.
So Philip, no, I didn't get a letter from the EPA. I got one from my supplier.
I I think I might have to ignore that.
Happy tablets. But I don't know a lot of people here in the valley that use them.
Well, they're relatively a new product.
Yeah.
You know, Man Lake's selling them. I know Todd on the West Coast there, he sells them. Bob Walker, Walker B Ranch in South Carolina sells them. He's the first one that basically brought them to the forefront for everybody to talk about. He was the first one that started noticing, hey, they're killing mites
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I can't sit here and say that I would rely on them 100%. I don't have that knowledge yet on that part of it. But
Didn't he say that it was putting some of the hive beetles down too when he first put it
he
on?
said he had terrible hive beetle problems, and he said he doesn't have hardly any hive beetles issues like he did. But like I say, he's down in South Carolina where it's got that sandy ground.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of trees around him too.
Yeah. Let's see, Keith here.
Philip had a question.
Well, I'm not going to say who the supplier is because I'm going to take care of that tomorrow and ask that pointed question. But it said that they had been pulled from the market.
Not that I know of. I do know that those traps that Cayman were talking about, the old jewel cases, you know, the Fat B Man used to talk about. That guy was selling them, and EPA wrote, you know, he had to shut his website down because it was quote illegal, I guess you'd call it, not approved. Now I was looking at Keith Darden. You're doing 25 grams of April Guard every 7 days or once a week. You didn't see any
Kenneth.
bigger, huh? Kenneth, I mean.
Kenneth? Yeah.
And where do you live at, Kenneth? I should know.
Hey. Too much silence.
Huh?
20
Too much
grams
silence.
days. 20 grams of what?
Sounds like April Guard, I guess. So, Sandra, you're down around Richmond?
I am between, I'm in Goochland County. I'm between Richmond and Charlottesville.
I'm not real familiar with that.
Okay.
East of Charlottesville, west of Richmond.
Richmond. Mhm. I'm in the woods.
She's in the middle.
I was
Yeah.
I was wondering whether she's close to shoot, Jimmy down there. Jimmy's in the neighborhood. Welcome to the neighborhood. I think he's around Chesterfield or Chester.
Okay, so he's probably about an hour south of me. I used to live in Chesterfield.
I believe that's where he lives.
And what's his last name?
Let me see if I can. Where are we at here?
Easy Ox. So Darren, what's your fall flow been like? Has it been pretty good?
Actually, it has been. I decided I wasn't going to try to pull any honey this year, any fall honey, but I actually probably could have. My boxes they're filling up. I'm gonna have to be careful because a few of them might be honey bound actually. But yeah, I tried last year to get a fall flow and I got nothing. I ended up having to feed everything until like October to bring them up to weight. But yeah, this year, I mean, they're I don't think we ever did not have a flow this year, except for maybe just a few weeks. I mean, it wasn't like I pulled my supers in the middle of July, and well, I mean, by that time the flow did slow down, but it was kind of like a trickle of a flow, like enough to keep the bees happy. Typically, like in the summertime, my bees would get so aggressive, didn't want to be around the apiary. But this year, they was just real nice and calm, and I can smell that fall, those asters, that dirty sock smell that you.
There he is. Found it, did you?
Yeah, I found it. I was on the
all right.
wrong channel.
Where's Sandra? You want to look up Jimmy's with a apostrophe S, neighborhood bees.
Thank you.
He's got a couple highs. I've met him at Nobby and we became friends. He's a really nice guy. So
what's
Todd,
everybody
what's
up
up?
to? Well, I had to comment on the topic at hand. 2 comments. First of all, I'll start with Apigard. So here in Central California, it gets hot this time of year. It's still hot. Today was nice. It was actually like 75, but it will get back up into the hundreds next week. This is the time I used to put an Apigard on. And because of the temperatures, I cut the dose down 4 ways. So the label says 250-gram doses or 2 mLs. 1 milliliter is almost equal to a gram. So you could just say 50 grams, 50 mLs, whatever you want to say. But with it being so hot, you can't put all that stuff on them because that smell will drive them out. I mean, really drive them out. If it's cooler, yeah, you could get away with it. More in the temperature range, even though it says like 6, I think it's 65 to 105. I think that needs to be adjusted. But you know what? To make an adjustment on the label like that, it would cost a lot of money because then they have to restudy it. So they're not going to do that. So you have to figure it out by trial and error. So for me, in my climate where it's hot and dry, I used to do 4 doses of 25 grams each. So it was enough of a smell where you get out of the truck and in your bee yard, you could smell it, but it wasn't too much to drive them completely out of the box. Yes, you'll get bearding, but that's normal. And what it does to Keith Larimore, he was saying his hive like shrunk or his brood nest shrunk. It'll do that because it'll shut the queen down. When there's that big of a smell in there, the queen's not going to lay a lot of eggs. There's not a lot of a brood pheromone going around or anything like that. All they could smell is thymol. So that will slow her down. But like I said, in my area, what famous Mike Berry says, this is how I do it. So that's what I do when it's hot. Now, I have no clue about humidity. We hardly if it's humid here, it's 30%. Okay. So I don't know what kind of what kind of thing that's going to do to the bees or the thermometer when you're putting Apogard on. But at least around here, that's what I do. Now, the second thing is I have not used anything but the Appy tablets since last October. So I've not done an Apogard application this year, and I won't. But as far as what Bill said about getting a letter about being shut down, I've not heard from Mehmet. I have a pretty darn good supply in my garage right now. So he hasn't said anything to me. And the thing to think about is this. This is a supplement with a really bad side effect of killing mites. It's not indicated for mites. Everybody knows that, right? But it's a supplement. Supplements are not regulated, just like they're not regulated in humans. Like you go to what's that that vitamin store? I forgot. Starts with a G.
Oh,
You-
GNC.
GNC.
You go there and you buy this or that. They're supplements, but they're not regulated. That's why on the label it says this information has not been discerned or whatever from the FDA. Okay, because there are no rules about supplements. So it's a supplement. Now, the caveat here is this: in the beginning, there were pictures shown on Facebook and stuff of trays of dead mites. Okay, and so there was kind of a relationship going on there, like, oh, those things, and he's marketing it as a mite killer. Well, he didn't say it. He just showed the pictures. That's good enough for the government to say, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on here? He himself cannot say it's a mite treatment. He's the owner of the company. But me, that I have no interest in the company other than selling the product. I could say that. That's not against the law. Believe it or not, it's not. Okay. But the owner of the company cannot market it as a mite treatment. I could say, and what I've been saying is it has a bad side effect of killing mites, but it's a supplement that helps your bees get through, it could help get through the summer. It could help them gear up in the spring. It could help them going into fall and winter. It just gives them vitamins and minerals and amino acids. It has 20% of it is essential oils. So there's, I believe there's 13 essential oils. 80% of the tablet is sugar. The 13% or the 20% of essential oils is the other part of it. That's it. It's just that simple. But I will say this, and then I'll be done. I ran into a study. Some people know about it. I don't know who, but it's out there. And there was a study done during 2020. So I think it was COVID. It was it was during COVID. It wasn't a COVID study. But it studied 30 different essential oils. In the study, 8 of them, 8 had a 100% kill rate of a row mite within 24 hours. That's all I'm going to say. I asked Mehmet, I said, hey, I started naming them off, cinnamon, carrot, peppermint, thyme. And he's like, whoa. You're talking about my recipe. Now, of course, he didn't say, this much thyme and this much peppermint and this much cinnamon and this much carrot. But some of the ingredients I rattled off are in his formula. It's a proprietary thing. So I don't even know what's in it except essential oils and sugar. So that's all I got to say about that. But it does work. When you do it in the spring, you do 1 tablet in the spring over a brood nest, and that's per box. So if you're running doubles, you could put 2 in the middle. But if you're running singles, you just put 1. They will come as spring progresses. You will notice a difference in them. They will all of a sudden just start kind of growing faster than you thought. So, or would think. So it does work. So that's about all I got to say about that. But as far as what Bill said about it being shut down, that's very interesting. I don't know what that means because I don't think Man Lake would. If someone could look right now on their website, if it's on Man Lake's website, then there
That's
is.
not my supplier though.
Is it a supplier issue or is it a product issue?
The supplier sent me a letter saying that they had been pulled off the market and they were no longer available. So, like I said earlier, that's something I got to deal with the supplier on.
Yeah.
To find out the actual truth, because of what I'm hearing now, I can't believe that was done.
Yeah. I don't think that a company like Man Lake would make a decision, and it was just maybe 3-4 months ago to bring it on, to start selling it if they could foresee a problem in the immediate future.
Right.
But, things happen, of course, but I just don't see something like that going down. And and you know what? I don't know why the EPA would take it off the market or say that it's taken off, or anybody say it's taken off the market. There's nothing synthetic about it. It's 80% sugar and 20% essential oils. So, and besides that, he's not marketing it anymore, or really wasn't. He was inferring that it would kill mites, but he's never
Made that statement.
Yeah, it's a mite treatment. It's not. It's not.
Right.
Well, I'm looking at Man Lake.
Man Lake's website.
It's on Man Lake's website.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe they just have, if it was the case where it was taken off the market, I think Man Lake would be the first one to react to it and take it down until they figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. But all I know is that it works pretty good. I have not used anything else since it was about the middle of October. And the only other thing I've used, and Charlie knows this, is Apis Biologics. And boy, when you feed with that, watch out. Hang on to your shorts, because they're going to grow.
Catherine has a question for you. Will you use it in the fall?
Yeah. I'm feeding right now because my the West Coast, the Central California version of goldenrod is kind of a dud. So I'm feeding right now, and as soon as I get enough in them, I'm going to take it away from them, and I'm going to give them a tablet. That's key. Okay, that's the key thing about this. If there's a natural nectar source, obviously they'll nibble on this tablet, but they won't take it down. If you feed them, they're not going to do both. They'll take the syrup before the tablet. You have to basically be in a dearth, or they basically they have to be in a space where they have nothing else available to them to eat. Of course, they're going to eat sugar anyway. Guys make sugar bricks. That's what this is, except it looks like a puck. So you have to realize, hey, they're not. If you open the hive and you see the tablet, they're pretty much intact. Well, maybe there's something that they're getting out in the field. The other thing is they will chew underneath between the frames, like what they do with pollen patties. When you lift up the patty, you could see the indentations of where they were able to access it from between the frames. So they do the same thing with the tablet. But you don't want to feed it when there's a flow on or anything. You could leave it there. It's not going to do anything. It could be on there for a whole year. The tablet is still going to work. I've even had a hive store it. They've taken some of it and stored it. So, and then it was gone in the spring. They ate it up. So they'll utilize it.
Well, if you got, like right now, I put them in the hives, and of course they got a super honey above them.
Mm-hmm.
But there's lots of bees in there. Like you say, I think that if you got a great population, there's a pile of sugar right in front of them. They're going to chew on that before. I've known people talk about where they've had stored honey and they put either fondant or sugar up on top. They'll go for the dessert sugar before they eat the darn honey.
You know, I look at the super as a winter feed for the bees. I mean, it's for the cluster, and this is just my own thoughts. You know, they're moving around in the hive. So when they're moving around and they run into the upper part of the cluster runs into the super above them, yeah, they'll start taking it and they know where it's at. But anything else that's in there, sugar, as long as the cluster is not intact or packed in, they'll get it. They'll take it. Yeah, it's I don't know. I just hate to see products that can do some good, that get on the market or at least being sold. To be frankly honest, to be badmouthed, maybe because it wasn't right for somebody doesn't mean it's wrong for everybody else. I will say this: I've talked to Mehmet. There has been research done at Baton Rouge. He doesn't have the study in hand, but he talked to the researcher, and it was very interesting information. I don't want to talk about it now because I don't think I should. I don't think not that I'm not allowed, but it's not my place to talk about it. But there is a study. The only problem is it has not been released by the USDA lab out of Baton Rouge for some reason. Don't know why. So it was a comparison of 3 other products and Happy Tablet. And it was
I'm gonna
favored.
tell you what Baton Rouge is gonna do. They're gonna try to get more money to do a little bit more study before they decide what they're gonna do.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. See, that's why Apogard has not, or who is it? Vita Pharma has not changed their label because they have to start all over with the study. And the study will take 2 years, 3 years. And then all that money that's spent on that, then they have to pay for licensing. Then they have to pay for all the other stuff. I mean, think about all the stuff they have printed, the materials. They have to do all that over again. You're starting to look over $1 million just to have a temperature range readjusted. So
That's why some pharmaceuticals are so high. They got to get their money back.
Yep, exactly right. Exactly right. You know, I've said this once before, and this is funny. And I was in pharmaceuticals for over 20 years. If they pulled aspirin off the market and did a study on it, it would be banned.
Sure it would.
Yeah, it would be banned. It would not be a legal drug for them to sell. So,
and it's probably one of the most natural drugs out there.
yeah.
Willow bark.
So So anyway, that's why I jumped on here. I got home from work. I actually another thing I want to mention is I'm testing a product right now for wax moth, and so far so good. It looks really, really good. And I don't know when I could talk about that, but I am doing that right now. So it's quite interesting.
Well, I'm glad to see somebody's finally doing something about the wax moths.
Yeah, and it's an all-natural product as well, too. It's not a synthetic. So,
Well, that's a great thing.
It's something you spray on your combs, like Sertan. But this is and BT is an all-natural product, but this one is as well. I would imagine the cost would be more attractive to people. I don't know what the cost would be, but I would imagine it being more attractive.
Well, that's a good thing. That's always a good thing.
Yeah.
When we can save a little money.
And my test, so and I'm doing it. I'm just basically doing just a preliminary test for them. I have 11 boxes of frames. They're eight frame boxes. So what's that? 88 frames. All of them are brood comb. Several of them have pollen here and there, but I have 5. They're basically just full of pollen. That's all they are, is pollen. No honey, no nothing on them. All the honey's gone anyway. But it's a solid frame, front and back of pollen on 5 of them. And one of the frames, actually 2 of the frames, had, when I pulled them out of a colony, they already had wax moth burrowing in them, so they had some larvae in them. The spray is a larvicide, so the wax moth itself can go lay eggs, but the eggs won't go anywhere with this stuff. And it's 2 applications a month apart. So, now we'll see. We'll see. I've got a variety, like I said, I got a variety of comb out there. And yeah, and wax moth for me, and I heard a lot of people talking about it, this year has been really bad. And I think like 3 years ago it was really bad. It's like they go in cycles. So, and I'm blessed to not have to worry about small hive beetle yet, but eventually they'll be here.
Yeah, they'll get there eventually. I'm just blessed.
Your ground might be too hot for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, and it's cement too. It's hard as a rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we haven't had a bad year with wax moths the past 2 years because it's been so daggone hot.
Yeah. Well, like I said in the chat, this year was really bad heat wise. I had comb melting in colonies. Now, they're most likely weak colonies anyway, but I drill holes in the bottom, in the back end of my pallets, in the back corners, 5/8 inch holes, just to drain for rainwater. And the comb went down, or the wax went down through the comb. It looked like I had an oil leak under my truck or something.
Wow.
It was pretty wild, yeah. Anyway, I didn't mean to hijack.
No,
So
all the information we can get about stuff like that, it helps everybody.
Yeah.
Well, if Bill wants to sell that, where can he go direct to the factory? Or as tablets or?
Well, I mean, first thing to confirm with me, and I have a call into him already, but not about this. But as soon as I talk to him, I'll find out what's going on, what this is.
Didn't Bob mention this same situation here about a month ago?
I don't remember that. I'm not. I don't know. I can't remember that.
It's something about that. I don't know.
Well,
it's like you say, it's just like Super DFM and Honeybee Healthy and all the other ones out there that, over like I know Todd knows, like over the last year or so, people that I'll call them naysayers about this stuff are screaming, where's the science literature to back all this stuff up, the peer reviews and all that. And I'm like, hey guys, everything in beekeeping except for maybe the bona fide mite treatments that are backed up by the EPA, none of it has ever had really any blind studies or anything of that nature. It's what whoever the manufacturer claims it'll do this and claims it'll do that, and that's it.
Yeah, like Todd said, it's a supplement.
I people, Charlie, though, that do that, and that the people who say they're bad mouthing the Appy tablets, or that they're using other products. There's no backing behind
that's
those.
What I say.
Yeah.
These other products, or they're selling other products.
Yeah.
And
it's the greatest product in the world.
you know, like I watched the video of Fred Dunn, who got a hold of the science gal that is promoting Super DFM, who actually made it up, you know, because they were in the animal farming business where they were supplying supplements for regular farm animals, except for bees. Anyway, basically, she came out and said, yeah, we studied it in our own bee yards, our laboratory yards at the wherever they manufacture and test all this stuff. But did somebody else do a blind study and find the same results over here at someplace else or 2 other places? No.
Well, Randy
They're
Oliver
just-
did a study. He won't use it.
He said it's just BS, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, there's Charlie. There's your answer for from Bob.
Bob,
He wasn't liking it. Like he was
Yeah.
not liking that the company went with a bigger retailer.
Went to Man Lake. Yeah. Well, that kind of cuts out the middleman a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, sorry guys, my throat's kind of raspy today. As far as tests and stuff like that and studies, I always say this: listen to your eyes and listen with your ears. Believe what your eyes say. Believe what your eyes say. When you're looking at a colony, if you see like 3 bees on the top bars, you got to think something's wrong. I mean, you crack that lid open and you see nothing but bees. Hey, it's right? So whatever you're doing is working. So always listen to your eyes and believe what you see.
Well, I mean, we'll go back to Apis Biologic. You know, I've gotten to the point where when I open a hive up, I don't want to see no top bars.
Yeah.
I want to see a sea of bees.
Yeah.
Or I barely see the top bars. I'll put it to you that way. That's what I want to see in my hives. That's what that's what I'm kind of used to. It used to be I wasn't used to that amount of bees, but now I'm used to seeing that, and it's like that's what I want to see. And like Todd said, 2 years ago I used Apis for the first time and fed, and I didn't feed every, you know, I feed let's say somewhere around 200 gallons of sugar water at the time. And I'll say I only fed maybe a third of that with Apis in it. And I got in there in late March. And I never seen so many bees. And normally I'm running 3 mediums. The bottom medium is normally completely empty with straggler bees, and everybody else is just in the top 2 medium boxes. Well, that spring, I had bees and brood from the bottom box to the top box. And the bees were just overflowing over the sides when you opened up the top inner cover and stuff. Now this year was a different story. I had old queens and lost about half my hives because of aging queens. And then I requeened this year and reestablished my hives. And I still say I pulled a rabbit out of my hat, where I put these new queens in, and you went from maybe having 1 frame of maybe a quarter of that frame might had some cap brood on it. And that was it. To when a new queen got in there, I had multiple frames, 6, 7 frames of brood, pretty much the whole entire medium frame, solid cap brood. And which taught me a big lesson about keeping young queens in your hive. And I made over 1,000 pounds of honey this year. And I was at least the 15th of April when I finally got that problem turned around. And I thought for sure that I would maybe make 500 pounds of honey this year if I was lucky. And I was just amazed that I got over 1,000 pounds. And then can't think of his name. He came on my chat on a couple Friday nights in a row. He was down at actually Hive Life the first year that I went. Sutton, I think his last name is. He's a commercial beekeeper, about 1,600 hives or something like that. And he said, oh yeah, he says young queens will increase your honey production and stuff, because of course you're gaining in foragers and stuff like that. And so now I know to keep my queens no more than 2 years old. And me and Bill talked about that back
You
here.
know,
Matt.
when y'all talking about you don't want to see the top bars when you open your hive.
Yeah.
Down here, if I got one that way, I better be putting another box on it or splitting it,
Yep.
or I'll be
Yep.
finding queen cells.
Yep.
It's funny
Real quick-
how it's different in different locations.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, that's true. I mean, here, but that's one thing that, you know, where I do that modified type demery where I'm pulling all the slab brood frames out that are completely capped over. I pull all them out of there and put them in that top, medium, super, and then everything that I pull out of the top that's not, it's open or whatever, I fill them bottom 2 boxes back up. And this is the start of honey season. And then I put my queen excluder and my honey supers in between all that. And they make me a crop of honey. And as long as that queen's got a place to lay, she won't swarm. She just will not swarm. I know that Bill he kind of does what I do, but in a little bit different way. And it, don't you, Bill, you got what, double deeps is it or mediums?
I run a deep meat brood box. So I take the old brood boxes off the bottom, put a set of fresh brood boxes in there, put a frame of uncapped larvae in it, queen excluder, 3-4 mediums, queen excluder, deep medium brood box. Come back in 7 days and I kill all the queen cells in the top. And then they backfill everything from top to bottom with honey.
And then you got the queen isolated in the bottom with that one brood frame, 1 or 2 brood frames.
Yep. And she will fill those boxes and nothing flat because she's a young queen to start with. And it gives me 2 things around June 30th. Gives me a heck of a lot of honey and a heck of a lot of bees. So you can get 2, 3, 4 splits out of one demeray for overwintered for next year for sale.
Now, are you taking those, instead of crushing those queen cells, are you taking them and making splits with them?
Depends on whether I need them or not.
Okay.
If I need them, I harvest them.
See you later,
Put them in
Brian.
a mating nute and let them hatch out. If I don't need them, they get crushed.
Right.
Did Brian at Flower Street just vacate?
No,
No.
he's on
No.
here.
He's here.
I apologize because I just turned on my comments and I saw his question about 20 minutes ago. I apologize, Brian, and to everybody else. So I'm just going to go back real quick to Appy Tablets, and I'm going to jump off because I got to eat dinner. And I'm not trying to defend Appy Tablets, but I have to call out what I see is wrong and not true. And again, that's just me. You guys, think what you like. But I saw a video a few months ago. A fellow was he had an Appy tablet on his colony, and he started saying, "Well, you don't even want to touch this with your hive tool. You don't want to get it in your house. Don't touch it. Like it's some toxic thing, right?" First of all, I put them on without gloves, right? I just put them on. They're not going to hurt you. Bob, when he was in Canada last February, put it in his mouth like this. Well, he still has lips and teeth. I have a pallet of it in my garage. I can't smell it. Now, of course, they're packaged, right? But these things are kind of fragile. Some have broken open. I know I've got broken packages at the bottom of the pallet, but I can't smell a damn thing. So, I just have to kind of call that video out because that was completely false. And he was like, he took a stick and he kind of flicked it off and he was scared that it was going to come back and bite him. I mean, really, there was really no need for that. So I just want to say that about that video. The other thing is I'd love to answer Brian's question from 25 minutes ago. He says, how many Appy tablets will shut down a queen? Ever experiment with more than one tablet? Yes, I have. So last year when I had them in singles, before I put them to doubles, because I thought I was going to get in with a commercial guy in almonds this year, I had, well, not all of the colonies, but a few. But I had some in doubles. And the singles, I put 2 on, a few of them, because they had high mite counts. So nothing happened to them. And of course, it was cooler, right? So that might have had something to do with it because of the smells and all the pheromones that go in the hive, and they get disrupted by any of these strong smells. I put 2 on singles, I put 3 on doubles, and 3 on doubles in between the first and second box. So it doesn't bother them. It might slow them down a little bit, just like Apogard slows down queens when they don't have that pheromone going around, a brood pheromone going around. That affects the queen. Same thing with this, but way less. There's hardly any thymol in this product, even though that's the thing you could smell. I know the other ingredient is eucalyptus, so you can imagine eucalyptus and thymol. You're going to get a very strong whiff of it, right? But it doesn't last very long. The current label, right? Well, not the current label, but the dosing right now is kind of changed, and I'm kind of messing with different doses. Do I do 1 in the spring, 2 in the summer, and then maybe 1 in the fall? Right now, it's 1 in the spring, 2 in the fall. But I think there might need to be a middle dosing. So, is it 2 in the spring, 1 in the summer, 2 in the fall? Don't know. So I'm going to play around.
So JT Berry from Berry Kind Bees, question up on the screen. Did you do a mite wash before or after?
Yep. Well, you mean, I'm guessing that when he's talking about the tablets. Yes, sir, I did. So I had, just like Bob, you could go back and look at Bob's video from last October. I can't remember. It had some profanity in the title, but I can't remember what it exactly was. But my mite washes, I had my notes in my truck, but it was something around the line of, I had a colony that had like 30 mites. I put 2 tablets on, and that was a single. It knocked the mite count down. I want to say it was like 10 or something after that, something similar. But it decreased. Every single hive that I had high mite counts on it. Well, whatever mite count I had, they all decreased.
Okay.
I have full disclosure here. The reason why I'm kind of wondering if there needs to be a summer dose is because when I put them on in the spring after my flow, I put the tablets on. I didn't do anything until July, late July. And I had some hives that just went bonkers with mite counts. So I'm wondering between spring and late summer if there needs to be another dose in the middle. I'm wondering if I could go 3 doses, like in the spring, sometime in the summer, and of course the fall, to clean them up.
So are you putting these on in the spring before the flow and taking them off when the flow starts, or what are you doing?
No, I'm doing after.
After.
At least that's what I did this year. Yeah, I have time to do them. I have to get them on really quick, but the only problem with that is I have to depend on Mother Nature to, do what I want, and that never happens. So I wait till after the flow.
Okay.
Yeah, and my main flow is oranges, so right around April 1st it will go, and it'll last about 3 weeks, and then after that I'm done. So I try to do the grafting in March, and I don't want to put that on the ones that I want to graft. So I just wait till the end of April. And it works.
Okay.
Yeah, so far so good. Now, there's guys out there, and I'm sure everybody's thought about it. Well, that's just 1 year, Todd, that you're doing this. You know, everybody could get lucky on doing that, even treatment-free people. Yeah, that's right. But I've seen good results, so I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. If they all crash and burn, I'll be the first one to jump on here and tell you guys.
Yeah, you have to do what
I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a you know, I don't wear a Superman cape, and I, you know, yeah, it would really suck if I lost all my bees, but at least it's information that everybody can use.
Yeah. So I'm interested to talk when you talk to your distributor, talking to you after you talk to them.
Absolutely. Yeah. Charlie, well, if you want to get my number, or you could just send me a note, and I can email you my number.
Okay.
I can,
Yeah.
I can text it to Bill.
Or yeah, text Bill my number.
All right.
Hopefully oh man, Darren dropped off. Hopefully I can get a hold of him tomorrow. So, yeah, sorry, Brian. I didn't see that question, and everybody else that had questions. I'm sorry. I don't see any more really.
Yeah, it's 12 minutes past 10, and it's a Monday night, and I'm sure everybody's got to get up in the morning and go to work. I know I do.
Some of us have to eat dinner still.
Yeah, that too.
I haven't had supper.
I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. I'm sorry about last week with the technical problems we had, but I think I've got all that kicked. So looking forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah. So what did
All righty.
we had technical problems, Bill?
Yeah. The live stream on YouTube
Mhm.
wasn't YouTube didn't allow it to be a live stream. It allowed it to be a video instead of a live stream. And that created issues with StreamYard, which in turn created issues with YouTube. So I got it straightened out.
It has something to do with your subscription count or anything?
I think that's what it ended up being. So, but I do appreciate everybody for coming out, and it's it's almost 10:15. So
Yep.
I appreciate it, and looking forward to talking to everybody next week.
See y'all later.
See you guys.
See y'all later.
Good night.
Good night.